to Spur Your Joy. Conversations of passion and inspiration with your host, Kattie Marie.
Good evening. I'm Kattie Marie, and this is Spur Your Joy, Conversations of Passion and Inspiration. My guest today is Daniel Martin. He's the president of the Dawson Creek Disc Golf Club. Now, I've heard about disc golf, but only recently, so why don't we start off with you sort of explaining what disc golf is?
Yeah, that's the number one question. Disc golf is very much like regular golf. You have 9 or 18 holes, and you're trying to complete the game in as few strokes or throws, because you're using a frisbee-like disc, as possible. And instead of using a club, your arm is your lever, and instead of a ball, you have a streamlined disc, and you're trying to complete each hole in as few throws as possible. Then you complete your hole, you move on to the next one. Now, where disc golf differs is you have these standing chain basket receptacles, and instead of a hole in the ground like golf.
Right.
So you throw from your tee, just like with golf, and you're trying to land maybe on the green for your first throw, and then you're making your putt to complete the hole. So you putt out, you hit the chains, drops into the receptacle, then that's called holing out, just like in golf.
Right.
And then so you try to complete the round and try to beat your best score or your handicap or your buddy that you're playing with, just like regular golf.
So, like regular golf, is there a set number of, I guess, throws in this case that you would need to get your disc into the basket?
Yeah, there's usually par. Most disc golf holes are par 3s, though for big tournaments, like we did last year, we had some par 5s. So you'd have holes instead of a 300-yard hole being a par 3 or 4 in golf. A 300-foot hole in disc golf would be a par 3, right? So and then a 500-foot hole in disc golf would be a par 4 or par 5, just like a 500-yard hole would be a par 4 or par 5.
So, and then do you go around the course with other people as well?
Yeah. So, for example, in Dawson Creek, a lot of times we just casually play, and we go onto the Facebook page and we say, hey, does anybody want to play? And we post online, and somebody says, yeah, I'll meet you at the course at 6. But we also have a Monday night handicap, or league night as we call it, is coming up May 1st. And then, so usually we get about a dozen people out from Dawson Creek, and we compete to beat our own handicap. So we establish our average score,
yeah,
or median score, and then we track everyone's scores, and we have prizes, and yeah, it's just a good, fun way to get out. And we also have little side bets where we compete for, they're called bag tags.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of fun. So where is the disc golf course in Dawson Creek?
In Dawson Creek, it's off of 15th Street, up from the high school there. It's at Barbary Park. That's where hole 1 starts, and it goes into Chamberlain Memorial Pioneer Park. So if you've ever walked behind the library or gone on the walking trail, you've probably seen these blue and white receptacles, and maybe you didn't know what they were.
Oh, so that's kind of cool that instead of having a course like in regular golf, you can kind of play it in public spaces.
Yeah, exactly. It's very friendly for multi-use parks, multi-use spaces. A lot of courses are on cross-country ski trails, or for example in Dawson Creek, you got the community gardens right near the tee pad of hole 11, and it's right near the walking path. But a lot of people who have been walking there for a year, they don't even know what the receptacles are. They're not bothered by it, but we try to introduce people to the sport whenever we're there, and we be courteous, and we just, yeah, it's exactly it. It's a good multi-use activity.
That's really fun. So how did you get involved in disc golf?
I got involved because I was bored, and my friends at the University of Vancouver Island introduced the sport to me.
Okay.
And when I was living on the island. And yeah, it was just a good way to get out and enjoy the weather and the trees, and just to mingle with people, and a low-cost activity.
Is it a big sport then on the island?
Yeah, it's very big. Probably the first real deluxe course was probably on Pender Island, just off of Vancouver Island. And it's been there since, I think, 1980.
Oh, wow.
And they have regular tournaments there with like 200 people. And yeah, it's huge on the island, multiple courses. They've held the provincial championships there, and Yeah, they have some of the best players in Canada and the world.
So even though it's new to Dawson Creek, it's not a new sport. Do you know the history, sort of how long it's been around?
Obviously, yeah, the sport's been around a long time. It has its roots in Frisbee. First, the Frisbee pie plate, right? And then Steady Ed Hendrick, he created the Frisbee Whammo disc. And since then, people decided to start throwing it at targets at the universities. And then it evolved to the creation of the actual basket and a professional disc golf society, Professional Disc Golf Association in, I believe, 1977. So there's been world championships dating back since 1977.
Oh, okay, so it's kind of all over the world then.
Yeah, it's all over the world. Japan has their Japan Open. It's really big in the Nordic countries because if you have a wooded area, you can just squeeze in 9 holes or 18 holes into a wooded area very well and utilize an underutilized spot or ski trails like they do in Finland. So Finland is the #1 disc golf country in the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. So have you ever played in any of those places?
No, I haven't got outside of Canada yet, but that's on my dream list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go down to Oregon. They have a Beaver State tournament that they have there, and the only way to get in is to enter into a draw. So
Okay.
you have thousands of people entering into a draw just to be one of the lucky 172 people to play in their tournament.
Perfect. Do you have to qualify to play in those tournaments, or is it something that you can just sign up for? Is there a skill level you need to be at?
Well, for up here and for most of Canada, you don't need to qualify for any tournaments. You could literally just enter into your first tournament without having played disc golf before, which is actually what happened last year when the Dawson Creek Disc Golf Club and the Fort St. John Disc Sports Club, we hosted a tournament up in Taylor at the golf course there, Lone Wolf Golf Club. And it was called the Battle of the Peace. It was highly successful. And some people had never even played before. And we just put them in the novice division. And we had multiple divisions. So we had some people come all the way from Vernon and Prince George and Bulkley Valley that were really good. And we put them in the advanced division. So there's a division for everybody. You literally could just come out one time, never having played before, and have a fun time.
So how hard is it? Like, how good do you have to be at throwing that frisbee? Because I know when I throw a frisbee, it never goes where I want it to. If
you've thrown a frisbee before, it's similar, but it's more. It takes more. You've got to put more spin on it for sure. It can take more power because it's more streamlined, it's more compact.
Yeah.
So you got to throw it with more force, but it can take it. You can throw these up to 1,000 feet potentially.
Oh, cool.
If you're in the Utah desert with some heavy winds.
So how many people do you have in the Dawson Creek Disc Golf Club?
The Dawson Creek Disc Golf Club last year, even despite the bridge, their course, splitting the course into, we had over 40 members. And this year we're hoping to get more families to joining this year, so we're hoping for over 50 this year. But with disc golf, it's the majority of players are actually just casuals who don't join up in a club or play tournaments. It's just people on their lunch break. They want to play maybe 6 or 9 holes. They got 40 minutes to play, and they'll just come to the park. They'll bring their dog or their baby, and they'll just play however many holes they can. So that's the large attraction to it, is the casual scene is really casual. You can just play for 3 holes or 6 holes, and it's free. You don't need a lot of time to do it, and you can bring your kids or your dog.
Yeah, that sounds like it's just something for everyone. I do want to talk to you more about it, but we have to take a quick break, so we're going to do that.
The dreaded sound of running out of fuel. It doesn't have to happen if you have a fuel card from Chetwynd Petroleums. Open 24/7, their pumps are ready to keep all your fuel.
You're listening to Spur Your Joy with host Kattie Marie.
Welcome back. I'm Kattie Marie, and this is Spur Your Joy, and I'm having a great time learning all about disc golf this evening. Daniel Martin is my guest, and before the break, we were talking about the number and types of people that play disc golf. And what I'm hearing is that one of the really cool things about the sport is how accessible it is. So no matter how young or old you are, everyone can play.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about disc golf. Just recently, one of our newer members. He's visually impaired. He's coming out and playing, and that's great to see. And there's even discs designed so that you can find them easier, that they beep.
Oh, cool.
So it's really fun. Visually impaired people can play. If you're in a wheelchair, you can play, because there's more than one type of way to throw the discs. You can throw them backhand like a frisbee, or overhand like a baseball, and have them spiral or tomahawk through the air. So pretty much any throwing style, or if you've played football or baseball, or even if you've never played any sports, you could probably find your throwing style. Even if you're if you're in a wheelchair or you got a bad knee, there's ways that you can play that are low impact for you.
That's really cool. And because the course is in a public space, you don't need to fit it into a schedule. You can kind of do it whenever you have time, as well as it's casual. Like it's just you can take your buddies and just go play for a little bit, and if you don't want to play again for 2 months, you don't have to. And I think that's kind of cool and much different than regular golf.
Yeah, exactly. If you just want to enjoy some nice weather with your buddies, you don't even want to play by any rules, or you just want to throw the disc and just have a casual round, you can do that. And that's what I did for the first 4 or 5 years. I was just kind of casually playing with my friends, and then I started playing in league nights and tournaments after that. But a lot of times, it's just people just play casually for for lunch.
So you were telling me before we started the interview this evening that you're also involved on a regional level and bringing disc golf into other communities. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm a member of the British Columbia Disc Sports Society, and part of that is getting disc golf in other communities. So, for example, last year I got disc golf in Fort St. John. I went up there for their community, Fort St. John Community One Stop. I met with their city director of recreation, and I kind of sparked some interest there up in Fort St. John. And then Clinton and Elena Workington, they kind of took the ball and they founded and created the Fort St. John Disc Sports Club last April. And now they have a 9-hole course.
Very cool. Fort St. John, anywhere else?
Yeah, Fort Nelson. They just got 20 baskets, and they're going to install a 18-hole or a 20-hole course this spring as soon as it stops snowing.
Awesome. And how about, we have a lot of listeners in Chetwynd, so how about Chetwynd? Is there anything happening there?
Yeah, we've had some interest in Chetwynd because they have a lot of good walking trails, and so a lot of people think that it would pair well with disc golf, and it'd be a good tourist attraction to get people up from Prince George to play.
So how much does it cost to get a golf course done or up and going?
Well, it's actually very low cost, because the first course we got in Dawson Creek was a tone pole course. So it's basically a chest height or eye level target, and it's basically just a big gong bell. We use fire extinguishers, fabricated modified fire extinguishers. So when you hole out, you just hit the bell and the bell gongs, and then you complete your hole and move on to the next one. The baskets are a little bit more expensive. They're about $500 each. So a 9-hole course, $4,500 for a 9-hole course. But in Dawson Creek, we received zero money from the city, and we raised our money through our own society. We got monies from Encana, ProMed Ambulance, different companies like that to help us out to get baskets. So
you can get started very inexpensively, and then as your membership and stuff starts to grow, you can expand.
Yeah, exactly. In Fort St. John, we lent them our old tone poles, or tonal targets that make the tone noise. We lent them those baskets, and then that took off. A whole bunch of people were playing, and it was packed last summer. And now, because of that, now they were able to get the monies and the grant monies from Northern Health to get their own baskets. So yeah, you could convert a $500 course, and you could see the level of activity from that, and then you could go from there and possibly get grants to get a full basket course.
That's very cool. So what about the discs?
Yeah.
So how are they different from regular frisbees, and where do you get them, and what do they cost?
Yeah. So if you're in Dawson Creek, the Northern Toy Box is a great place to go. They have discs ranging from, I believe, $13 to $20 each. And the difference between a disc golf disc and a frisbee disc is disc golf discs are regulated, so they're a certain size flexibility so they don't hurt people.
Right.
They also last a lot longer, so you could play in the cold and hit a tree, and they won't break or scuff as much as a Frisbee would.
Right.
So they're made of high quality, polyurethane kind of material, and there's different types, just like with golf. So you have a putter for when you're on the green with disc golf, and it resembles more of Frisbee. It's floaty, it doesn't travel very fast.
Right.
So you don't overshoot the hole. And then there's drivers that are sharper bevel, and they cut through the wind, and they can go a lot faster. And then there's mid-range discs that are for shorter holes, maybe a par 3. So in my bag I carry 20 discs, but that's if I'm going to a more technical course like Grand Prairie. Dawson Creek is a 12-hole course, fairly open, good for beginners. So you can really just play with maybe a putter and a mid-range disc to start. And then if you want to play from the longer back tees, you could get a driver once you play a few times.
All right. It all sounds very interesting and something that I think everybody should go out and try. And how, if they want to get involved, do they?
Yeah, I mean, disc golf is part of the participation program. It's one of the 150 activities. So definitely if you're following that, yeah, you just try it once. And if you want to get out and play, probably the best way is just to join the Dawson Creek Disc Golf Facebook page.
Okay.
And that way you can kind of watch videos or go on the website, and you can watch videos and know more about the society and disc golf in general. But you could also just go to the course one day, go to the Northern Toy Box. Andrew Ho, I'm sure he would help you. And you could just go out to the course, and we have scorecards and maps, and you could just try it yourself.
Yeah, just go out there, see Andrew at the toy box, get a disc, and then just start throwing and see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so easy.
Yeah, and then exactly, it's whatever level you want, right?
Yeah. So your Facebook page, how do people find it? What is it called exactly?
Disc Golf DC. It's a group page.
Okay. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I will link that page onto my Facebook page so everybody can find it. We are unfortunately out of time for today, Dan. Thank you so much for talking. I learned so much about disc golf, and I hope your club grows.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Kattie Marie. Thank you for listening to Spur Your Joy. We're always looking for new guest ideas, so if you know someone who is passionate about what they do, be it their career, their sport, their hobby, then please send me their information. And you can find me on Facebook. That's probably the easiest way. All you have to do is search Kattie Marie Radio. That's Katie with 2 T's, Kattie, Marie, Marie Radio, and I should pop up. I hope you have a fabulous week, and we will chat with you again next week.
What's a 7-letter word for awesome? Awesome?